I've got John Courtney with me, the CEO at Boardroom Advisors, which is an endorsing body for the Innovator Visas. And just recently, Boardroom Advisors have also been appointed as endorsing bodies for startup visas. So congratulations, John, and welcome to see you now, looking smart and dapper.
That's very kind, thank you.
Give us a little bit of a background about Boardroom Advisors and its role as an endorsing body.
Sure. So where do we start? So yeah, what's relevant to this is that Boardroom Advisors is an endorsing body for both startup and innovator visas. And people probably know, but just to say it out loud, that in order to obtain either of those visas, you need to go through an endorsing body and have your business plan and idea and everything endorsed. And with that endorsement, you can then proceed to visa. Without it, you can't. So we're kind of, I guess, gatekeepers for the UK, those two UK visa programs. Boardroom Advisors as a company, as well as doing that, and I'm sure we'll cover that in a great more detail. We also have existing UK clients that we advise. We have 150 of the very best advisors around, and they're experts in finance, marketing, sales, IT, operations, and we operate nationally. And we provide these experts to companies as fractional or part-time director level people. And that's the business that we have in the UK. And as I say, it's national. We've got 10 regional directors. And so the endorsement bolts on to that core business. And when we use those 150 very experienced advisors, they've all scaled businesses. So by that, I mean, they've all founded, run, funded, sold businesses of their own, and sometimes of other people's as well. Sadly, because I think it's an affliction, it's nothing else, that I'm a startup tragic. This is my 7th business in, well, I feel like I'm 109 years old in startup years.
It doesn't show though.
Thanks, I only look 87. And we have a lot of people like me that have done this many times. And so who better to help and advise startups and early stage businesses than people who have done it several times. So let's
open this up for a couple more questions from the delegates. We'll see what that looks like. But just a caveat for everyone on the program and listening and watching in. The information that we're sharing here is indicative. It gives you a broad perspective. It is not designed as specific advice. So, if you need to go down a specific route, you need to come down to us, have a chat with. So John, just kind of moving on with the process for an endorsing body. What does Boardroom Advisors look for from applicants who come to you?
Good question. And I suppose one thing, I'm not answering your question immediately, but while it's top of my mind, I should just flag up to you and to everybody else, if people don't know, that they are changing the endorsing body process. So from next autumn, they are drastically reducing the number of endorsing bodies. We've been invited to put together a consortium to be one of the people that maintains the endorsing body status. So it's not guaranteed by any means, quite the opposite, but we're very hopeful of continuing that process on an ongoing basis. Right, sorry, let me answer your question, Hemang. What do we look for? Okay, so in both the startup and the innovator visas, the criteria are really around 3 things. You have to show that the business is innovative, viable, and scalable. So needless to say, when we look at a business plan, you can guess which three things we're looking for when we look through the business plan. You know, we read every word of every business plan, but those are the three things that we need to report to the UK government, to the Home Office, as it is here, over here, to make sure that people will qualify. And of those three things, the most difficult area is around innovation. And, you know, what we need to do is to be sure that the business coming over that there's a market need for the service, and that the business proposition is different than other people's business propositions, and it has, in old school language, a USP. So those are the critical things. Now, in order for people to show us that, what we really like to see is some research. So that's market research to show that there's some need, and competitor research and analysis of that research to show that there is something different about this proposition than that which is already here in the marketplace. That research doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to take weeks and weeks. It doesn't have to be in mammoth detail, but it does have to be in enough detail for us to say, yes, we can see there's a market need and we can see that this is different. So the business, it can be, just pick an example, it can be an online marketplace like Amazon. You know, how is that innovative? Well, for a start, is there a market need? Well, yes, we kind of know that Amazon's scooping up most of the marketplace, so I think that's fairly obvious, but let's just do a bit of research to show that. And then, how is it different than Amazon? Well, if it's exactly the same as Amazon, there is no innovation.
Fair enough.
But if there is something different about it, I can't think of something off the top of my head, but if there's something that makes it different than Amazon and different than the other people in the market, because Amazon aren't the only player, then that could well be deemed to be innovative. So that's the key thing. Viability is this business, does it stand a decent chance of succeeding? Is it viable, to be precise about it? And actually, that's also around, is there a market need, and is there something different about this business? Because again, if it's no to either of those, the business probably isn't going to be viable. It needs to have something different. But also perhaps a bit more than that. You know, can we, for example, see that over the 2 years of a startup visa and 3 years of an innovator visa, can we see the business still existing? Well, in that case, it would be viable. And that's a judgment call. That's, you know, we're experienced business people. We're subcontracted by the Home Office to make that judgment. But that's what we're looking for. And then scalability. Scalability is particularly important for the innovator visa, because in order to get residency, then you have to meet certain Home Office criteria in order to get that residency. Now, it's a complicated basket of things, which it's probably best not to go into on this webinar, but there are two major factors in there: turnover and staffing levels. And so what we have to do when we're looking at the business plan is to make an assessment as to whether it's likely to meet turnover and or employability targets. So those are the three things that we look in the business plan. It doesn't have to follow any set structure. People have said, well, have you got a template? There's lots of templates on the internet. You don't need yet another template from us. We're reinventing the wheel. Go and find a template. It's not, the template isn't the important thing. But if you can have, for people doing the plan, is it innovative? Is it viable? Is it scalable? Are the three things that will be very, very close on. There are other qualification bits. Right. You know, on the startup visa, you don't need to be investing lots of money to tick the home office box. You probably need to invest something in the business to make it viable, but that's a different question. For the Innovator Visa, the 3-year Innovator Visa, you need to have at least £50,000 to invest in the business at the time of applying to us, because you need to show a bank statement, and it must be your bank statement, or if it's somebody else's bank statement, you've got to show a contract to show that they're going to invest in the business. We have to provide documentary evidence to the Home Office that the amount of
a concept that comes across. So just to follow up on that, is it that an applicant would decide whether they would fit into the startup visa category or the innovator visa category, or is that something that the endorsing body does?
No, it's for the applicants. We have, you know, they may well come through you, or if they're coming through you, you know, eventually they'll find forms on our website. So, you know, we've got a startup visa page and an innovator visa page, and there's an apply now button on each of those pages. So the applicant chooses which route they want to go down. It's not for us to choose to say whether they, you know, want to have a 2-year visa or a 3-year visa. I suppose the other key thing about the difference between those two is that the startup visa is not renewable. It's 2 years, you only get 2 years, you cannot renew.
Right.
The Innovator Visa is a 3-year program, so longer. And if you don't reach the Home Office residency criteria by the end of the 3 years, it is possible to renew that, and possible to renew that several times. Wow. So that's probably a better long-term bet than the startup visa, which is on its own. But then it depends whether the applicant has at least £50,000 to invest in the business. If they don't, then it's obvious they have to go to the startup visa. So our suggestion to people is, if they have £50,000 and they can show they have that £50,000 to invest, then probably the Innovator Visa is the better route. It's longer, it's renewable. If you go the startup route, then when that startup visa has finished, you can transfer to the Innovator Visa. So that's
Innovators. I think that's really clear now. So how would one go about getting an endorsement from Boardroom Advisors for either of these routes?
Well, first up, I suggest having an immigration lawyer, so speaking to yourselves. I'm sure you wanted me to say that. For us, you know, they go to the web pages on our website, Boardroom Advisors. Just put that into Google, you'll find it. And you know, you go to the startup visa page or the innovator visa page, apply now button, you start that. We have a simple 3-stage process. So stage 1 is the most simple application form you can ever imagine. We ask questions like, how is it innovative? How is it viable? How is it scalable? And a couple of other questions. Oh, and are you using an immigration lawyer? So we know if it's coming through you or perhaps through somebody else. Also, applicants come through other routes. So that's just a simple filter process. We give a little bit of feedback for free. We're not going to go into many paragraphs or pages, but yeah, a little bit of feedback, like perhaps you might want to do a little bit of competitor research, that sort of thing. Or make sure on the next stage, because make sure that the research is in there, because stage 2 is with a platform. It's a simple upload of business plan, CV. If it's the innovator, then a bank statement, and so on. There's a couple of other little forms to do, but that's it. Just simple upload. Doesn't take very long. We don't believe in long, boring processes. We want to people want to do this.
Yeah.
They want to do it quickly. So speed is important to everybody. Stage 3 for us, sorry, at the end of stage 2, again, having read the plan, having checked the documents, we'll give a little bit of feedback for free. Still don't see any competitor research. Stage 3 is a Zoom call between one of our 10 regional directors and the applicant, and the lawyer can come along as well if they want to. This is not a visa interview. People get worried. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know, they ask me lots of awkward questions. People should know that we want to endorse people.
Absolutely.
We want to help people start businesses. We want to do this. And if there's a gap, then we're happy to tell people where the gap is and ask them to go and fill that gap and then come back again so we can endorse. So the Zoom call is really, it's a discussion. We want to understand about the business. We don't want to do this just from bits of paper. That's not right. We want to meet the applicant. We want to make sure their English is good enough to set up a business in the UK. And we want to hear particularly about the bits, innovation, viability, scalability from their own mouth. Really, that's what it is. And if there are two co-founders, then it's
right. Okay. So John, another area that the delegates want to know is, what are the services that Boardroom Advisors can provide to the innovators or the startup applicants? I mean, do you help in getting investors for the future, or with the marketing and things like that? So what would that look like?
Yeah. So our Startup and Innovator Visa program is what we sell. We don't sell the endorsement. We sell a program that supports the endorsement. So for 2 years of the startup or 3 years of the innovator, what they get as part of the package that they buy is a support program, and that we do a strategic review with the client, and where are they now? Probably nowhere. Where do they want to be? Probably residency within 2 or 3 years. How do we get them from A to B? And we'll put together a strategic plan. That's different from a business plan. Business plan says what you want to achieve. Strategic plan says how you're going to do it. So that's what we do with the applicants, and then we check in every 6 months to make sure that the business is on track. And if it's not, we give them some help and advice to get them back on track. That's the program that we sell, and that's that they have to do. They have to buy that. Now, extra services that we supply, entirely optional services. People worry they have to buy other things. They don't. If that's all they can afford and that's what they want to do, and that's absolutely fine. But we have extra services. So at the beginning, if they want us to find innovation, to do the market research, to do the competitor research, to do the competitor analysis, to write in viability and scalability and write the business plan, then we can do that.
Right.
And if the business qualifies, then we would hope to take them through the startup or innovator route. So that's one service that we do. And then another service that a lot of people take from us is additional support once they're over here. So the program that I described, the strategic review, the process is excellent. It's exactly what we do with the UK companies. The people are experts. It's very strategic advice. It's almost like having a non-executive director for the business. So it's very good strategic, but it's also general advice. And some people, particularly people who want to do this perhaps on a larger scale, perhaps have more financial resources, perhaps they're an established business overseas, and with the sole representative visa closing and with the investor visa having closed, there are some established companies that and established investors who want to go down the innovator visa route in particular, and want to do this on a bigger scale. So we can provide part-time or fractional, a fraction of a person, expert services around marketing, sales, finance, IT, operations, all of these things. So you might have a company in India, existing company that has a marketing department, say, and that's great. And they're setting up a new UK business, and it's innovative, viable, and scalable. All great. So they need marketing in the UK, but actually their marketing department in India don't know much about the UK marketplace.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's not necessarily a transferable skill. So we can help them by providing part-time but director level people in order, in that example, perhaps to set up a UK marketing plan. Awesome. And to start the implementation of that plan while they get their own staff over here, and who might be doing more of the day-to-day marketing tasks. So that's just an example. The other thing is, the other example, I guess, of those types of services, perhaps there's a high net worth individual who sets up in the UK, and we have a very large package of support, and with that very large package, they can have a virtual board which can help them to run the business. The high net worth entrepreneur has to be involved as well, of course, otherwise they won't qualify. But they can have several people, therefore giving substantial support. So all of those packages are available. They're all optional. If people just want to do the Startup Visa program or the Innovator Visa program, then they're still welcome.
Brilliant. All right. Okay, that's great. I think it's really reassuring to for an innovator or an entrepreneur to know that they will have the support once they're in another country, because they're going in with an innovative idea. They want to make it a success, but sometimes it's they're unsure about how things are going to fall into place. And I think having experienced advisors that Boardroom Advisors provide will definitely go to manage their expectations for growth and help them be more realistic about their businesses and grow in that environment. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, and perhaps that people watching, listening, maybe try and understand where we're coming from. We're doing this, we've gone down this visa route in order to have long-term clients that we can help, and will buy more services from us. So to do that, we need our Startup Visa applicants and our Innovator Visa applicants to be successful. Now, there are no guarantees in the world, the coronavirus, world wars, whatever, but if these businesses don't succeed, it won't be for our lack of trying, it won't be for the lack of expertise that we make available to these people. We want them to succeed.
Makes sense. That's great. So John, that kind of brings us to the next question, which is again something that everyone's kind of keen to know is, are there any specific kind of businesses or ideas that you look for, or are there some which are kind of more prone for success and the others which are not going to get approvals?
No, is a straight answer to a straight question. The businesses can be anything. There are some endorsing bodies that just look at a narrow focus, like medtech or fintech or these sort of things, where we're able, through our Home Office authorization, to endorse any type of project. Where we are sector agnostic. So whether it's heavy engineering or e-commerce or anything in between, again, is it innovative, viable, it meets those criteria.
Fair enough. All right. Okay, that does make sense. So once someone's applied for an endorsement, they've got the endorsement, and they've got their visas. What happens next? On the program, where do they go?
So they come to the UK, and when they come to the UK with their visa, having got it through our endorsement, it's then the program that starts, and that's the strategic review and 6-month check-in and help and advice during that 6-month check-in until.
Right. Okay. And once they're in the UK, like you said, nothing's. Nothing certain, with the events coming in and all the rest of it, and things happening. So if an applicant has a particular idea and they've entered the UK on an innovator visa with that idea, but given the market conditions, if they have to change that idea or the business, is that something which is doable, or do they have to go back to the drawing board then?
No, every business, particularly early stage businesses, has to pivot at some stage and pivot slightly. So we've pivoted from our core business of helping UK companies, and we've not completely changed our business, but we've added to it by adding these visa routes to it. So every business, no matter what stage, is always moving. It's a moving feast, isn't it? So there's no problem with that. Now, if they come to reapply, then there are certain questions and checks and so on. Is this the same business that originally applied? Is it a different business? Is it the same business that's pivoted? It's all shades of grey. So I would worry about that when it's time for visa renewal, if it comes to that. But no, they have the visa, they set out the business plan, we've endorsed it, and we'll help them through the process. And there are bound to be pivot.
To get a sense in terms of the essence of a business plan, you've talked about it. Are there instances where ideas could get rejected because the business plan wasn't robust enough, or is that open to discussion when they send something through to you?
Well, yes. If it's again, we're looking, is it innovative, viable, and scalable? And if it doesn't go into enough depth to show those three things, then it's not going to be enough to be endorsed. It's as straightforward as that, really. So some people have come to us and said repeatedly, this is a very innovative business. There's lots of innovation here, but actually they haven't explained to us what the innovation is. Right. They haven't explained to us what the competitors are doing in the marketplace. The fact you repeat the word innovation many times doesn't mean to say it's innovative. So that's it. And we also get plans in all shapes and sizes. Some are very glossy, some are very basic, some are poorly constructed, but you kind of have to look through that. And for us, it's, does this business have a chance to succeed in the marketplace? Could it scale? Could it get bigger? And is it different than other people in the marketplace? And is there a need for this service? Those are the questions. Whether the plan's neatly typed out and got pretty pictures all over it really doesn't matter. Right.
Okay. Excellent. That's reassuring, because I know several innovators who just absolutely hate putting.
You should be a lawyer.
Funny you say that.
and please, I suggest to everybody, talk to Smart Move.
The Q&A box as well, so I can actually just take that up from there. He wanted to find out if the innovators can work independently in the UK on any other areas in addition to the business.
Right, that's a good question, because that's another point of difference between the startup and the innovator. I haven't been into every difference between the two things, because there are some minor things, and that, I guess, well, maybe it's not minor, but on the startup visa you can work on something else. You can do something else. You can have another in order to help fund your startup business. With the innovator visa, you should be working on the business, and that's a difference as well. So it's a sense of scale. So most, but not all, of the startup visa applicants are, I guess, they start as one-man bands. They're smaller businesses. Perhaps they have a day job, perhaps they don't. Perhaps they have some money to invest in the business, perhaps they don't have that much. But the innovator applicants are generally of a bigger size, and that they want to be spending all their time in the business, and they want to be employing people quite soon, and so on. So that's, I guess, another difference between those two businesses. If you've got a day job and you want to keep your day job while the business gets off the ground.
One. Where can one get a schedule of charges from Boardroom Advisors for the same?
You're a good man, Hemang. Well, I'll ask you. You have a copy of those. Yes. They can go to the website.
Absolutely.
I always suggest with everybody, if you just want information, just there's an inquiry. There's lots of inquiry forms on the website, or just do info at. Send us an inquiry. If you actually want to start the route, go through on the Startup Visa page or the Innovator Visa page, and the simple, the apply here button at the bottom, and that very, very simple form that will take you 5 minutes to fill in, 3 minutes if it's cut and paste from the business plan. You will get all the information from us in terms of not just the services we provide under the program, but the additional services. You'll get links to the government website. You get links to blogs that we have about endorsing bodies, about startup visas, about innovator visas. There's a wealth of information on the site, which you would get as the first point of call. I put 2 requests in really, because we have a lot of applicants. Now we have a process and we have a team and so on. So we're well resourced, but phoning and asking lots of questions at the early stage is going to swamp our system. So just drop us an email, fill in the application form, fill in an inquiry form. You will get a wealth of information back. And if you've got further questions after that, then obviously we can still handle those. But start the process if you don't have to commit to doing it with us. But if you start the process, then you'll get the feedback at every stage. But you're not committed to doing anything. You're not committed to paying anything until we have said that we are.
All the time that we have today on this call. So John, I would like to thank you for your time and for helping us out with giving so much insight about the endorsement process and clarifying the doubts for the delegates about the ideas and how do they go about the endorsement process. It's been very, very helpful for everyone.
Well, you're welcome, and thanks for inviting me. And listen, I haven't been to Mumbai or Bengaluru, but I know I'm a cricket nut. You can see I'm a member of Lord's Taverners charity. So I know that both of those places host one-day internationals and tests. So I hope to come out there. I've been to Delhi twice. Fabulous place. I've got on my living room wall at home, I have this huge picture that I took of myself and my wife at the Red Fort, and that graces our living room. I absolutely love. I want to come back to Delhi, but perhaps to Mumbai or Bengaluru as well.
Teams to check for any of your queries which were not answered on this program, and if you have an innovative idea, we'll be happy to have a look at it.